Well, today we have sort of a halfway miracle in that all of the readings emphasize one point: shepherds. The first reading, coming from the prophet Jeremiah, Jeremiah talks about a very bad leader, a very bad shepherd, who totally dispersed and destroyed his community, and everybody had to leave and run in various directions, and it was totally wiped out. The community was gone. And Jeremiah is saying, you know, this shepherd is going to have to answer to God for what he has done. And then the psalm was for today is Psalm 23. We had a choral version of it, but you know that psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want. Beautiful, beautiful prayer. One of those that you pray when you really need help. And then we've got Paul in his letter to the Ephesians. And he talks about his people going out to various towns, like the 12 who had just come in from those. And he says, you sometimes come to a place where the community is divided. You all know about those kind of communities, you know. You got the Republicans and the Democrats, and you got the rich and you got the poor, and you got the people of color and the whites, and they're divided. And Paul says, if you go there, what you need to do is go and make peace with one of them, one of those groups, make peace with them, and then go to the other group and make peace with them, and then bring them together talking peace. Shepherd. And then we got the gospel. The 12, as you heard last week, were sent out to go to the various villages and around where they were. I think they were at Capernaum, but I'm not sure that that's the exact town where Jesus was at the time. And they went out to all the villages around, and they preached and they taught and they drove out demons and they cured people and they answered questions, and they were exhausted. They came back absolutely wiped out. And Jesus, the Good Shepherd, says, hey, come on, you guys, we need to go take a rest. Let's go off and get some rest. We need to be alone. And so the people, seeing what's happening, that Jesus and them are all leaving, they say, hey, what's going on? We need you. You can't leave. Somebody comes and says, I know where they're going. And everybody gathers up whatever they got, and they grab their horse and their cart and their things, and they race around. And they're there even before Jesus and the apostles can arrive. And they're waiting. And Jesus gets off the boat and he sees them. This large crowd of people in pain and hurt, and they need instruction, and they need the demons driven out, and they need curing. And so that's what he does. Doesn't rest. Okay, that's a picture of shepherd. Now, what about flock? Well, in the first reading, the flock is totally disbanded, dispersed, torn apart. Sad. Here's a community, a family, and they're not connected to each other anymore at all. How sad. And then with Paul, you've got the divided community. And in our culture today, there's a lot of that going on. People are taking sides. I'm with them, and you're not so. This is our group. We're the ones who are right, and you're wrong. And they're busy taking sides. Well, yeah, big deal. So I disagree with you. So what, huh? Does that make us enemies? No, I just disagree with you. Big deal. In the meantime, there's people who need food. Well, let's get together and get them some food. We got a couple of sick people. Well, what do we need to do to fix it, to help them? So we disagree. So what? That isn't important. It doesn't make you bad and me good. But that's what's happening in our culture right now. And we've got a lot of communities that have been that way, that are that way, I should say it that way. And then we've got the community who sees Jesus leaving and they say, hey, we got some needs yet. We need to be taken care of. What are we going to do? How do we get our needs as a community met? Well, we know where he is. The community organized themselves, went off and got their needs met. The flock took control. Oh. St. Charles, through the years, has had some really great shepherds. And the flock, the community has always been there. And there have been times when, the church, the parish was kind of divided over, Like I can remember hearing about when the school is going to have to close. Well, is it going to? No. And are we going to go with St. Rose? Are we not? And oh man, that was really hard. And somehow the parish worked it out. We got a need, let's meet it. And we did it. And so through the history of the parish, there have been divisions, and there have been angers and hurts and all of that. But as a community, the community has stayed together and done what has needed to be done. And so now you're getting a new pastor, and you're moving in with a new community. De La Salle North Catholic is coming in. And here's the community already here. Well, now, when you bring two communities together, you got some friction, because they want to do things this way, and we want to do things. We've always done things this way, and the next year or two are going to be kind of difficult, huh? But you're going to have to be like St. Paul says, speak peace to each other. Speak peace to each other. Bring the communities together slowly, and we'll have to negotiate who's got what parking and who's got what room and all of that stuff, And that's going to take some time and some patience. But is De La Salle North Catholic a really great organization doing real good for the gospel? Yes. And is St. Charles a great flock, a great community doing real good for them? Yes. Then they need to come together, and they can do more good things together than they could alone. And so that's the future. And so I hope that all of you listen to these readings today and get the message. Especially, I sort of like the message in the gospel of the community who says, hey, our needs are not getting met. How are we going to get those needs met? And they organized and set out and made it happen. And so the future holds good shepherds and good flocks.